Here is a Lakewood piece of garbage. This is a Lakewood Model 600 desk fee-in, or personal fee-in, whatever you want to call it. Model 600, 120 volts, 60 hertz, 0.4 the amps. The letter H recently gave this to me, and I don't know if he gave it to me as a joke because I do have a history with this particular line of fans, or if he knew that I would like it, or a combination of both. I like almost anything Lakewood, and so part of me does like these as well, and I also like fans that come in pairs or different sizes that are pretty much cosmetically identical other than the size. I do have the 12-inch, and I also have the 16-inch of the DX series. So this is not Model 600 DX, it's just Model 600, but it's the DX series. The other ones are the 1600 DX, the model number, and the model number is 1200 DX. Why this one is not, I don't know. But it's the same thing, same series. The Lakewood DX series and the Lakewood A series are, in my opinion, horrible fans. Now, we've talked about this in the past on this channel. Just completely horrible design, poor airflow, high noise volume, horrific serviceability, just as cheap as it possibly gets. And this one has all the same characteristics, I'm sure. It's super cheap. The cord just comes right out the back of the motor, so the wire doesn't even go down and come out the base, or have a switch on the front. Switch is right on the back, which is kind of okay for a little fan like this. The blade looks super thin, so I doubt that this moves much air at all. But I'm not going to make any assumptions about it. We got to test it first to see how it performs. But if it's anything like the other two, it's just a disaster. Out at 1200, I spent, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours trying to service that stupid thing. What a piece of garbage. I was successful, I didn't give up, but just what a terrible product. And then the 1200A, the A series, I think is also a terrible product. Those flimsy plastic grills and the shaded pole motor. Why the heck would you put a shaded pole motor in that when the competitor product has a PSC motor? It's just awful stuff. Now this is a shaded pole motor as well, but these pretty much all were. Very seldom these come with a PSC motor. This is actually a pretty nice example. Some people say these are worth something because they're getting hard to find, and while it is true that scarcity generally increases value, I'm not sure, what is it really worth? I don't know. That's a question that doesn't really have an answer. I mean, who's to say what this is monetarily worth? You look at stupid eBay and you'll find probably one of these for 200 bucks. I wouldn't pay that. I think that's crazy. But anyways, this is a pretty good shape. The plastic's not super yellow. This still feels like normal plastic. This is pretty strong still. The base is a little bit kind of sounds and feels like shatter plastic. I'm not sure if it was always like that or not. The 1200 I have is in pretty good condition. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to successfully complete the servicing. The 1600 I have is okay. It's not in the best of condition. There is definitely some sun rot, but compared to other fans or other examples that still remain, it's not doing too bad. I just got thinking, where is my 1200A? Must be still at the old location. Maybe I'll grab that piece of junk next time I'm over there. Or maybe I'll just leave it over there and free up the space over here. Well, let's go ahead and plug this thing in. I remember in middle school, I guess it would have been, seeing one of these in the brown color. Now, it looked pretty much identical to this, but I guess that would have been the 1200 or the 600A. And it was at like the instructor's area in the chemistry room, and I never saw it run. It was there for years, And I remember something about it didn't look right. I think that the blade had like come off the shaft or something. Normally I try to find all the fans that I saw when I was younger, but that was one of those models I knew that the 1200 was so bad. I just didn't even bother trying to find one. So this is the plug. It's non-polarized, which according to the Digitan Goodwill, that means it's too dangerous to test, but we're going to test it anyways, because in reality nothing's going to happen. We only have 117 the volts right now because a bunch of air conditioners are on, and most likely air conditioners are on up and down the street because it is now 86 degrees out, over 87%. That's very uncomfortable. Alright, let's go over to the amps and let's get started on low. This is really kind of flimsy. We'll have to tighten up this screw a bit. There, that's better. Are the bearings stiff? No. Why the heck is it taking so long to get up to speed then? It's actually in pretty reasonable balance. Turn off this other fan I have on in the background. It's 80 degrees here in the studio, pretty warm today. Well, you know what? It's not a complete and total fail. This is by no means the best desk fan I've ever used, but it's actually not that bad. I would even go as far as to say this is satisfactory. The blade seems to be in pretty good clock. Actually, that's kind of remarkable for a plastic fan. It's almost spot on. The balance seems decent. Yeah, the balance is really decent. Huh. What a pleasant surprise. And the airflow is not bad. If I go a couple feet back, I'm probably 4 feet away from it now. Not a huge breeze, but I can still feel it. Let's see, about 6 feet away. Yeah, I can actually still feel it. I mean, it's not much, but it's there. That is a pleasant surprise. It's actually like satisfactory. So we have 0.15 the amps, 13.5 the watts, and 0.74 the power factor. Well, I am pleasantly surprised. It's nothing to write home about. I think the Lasco 2002 blows this thing out of the water, as do many other fans. But unlike the 1200A and the 1200DX and the 1600DX, this is not like so far below the standard performance expectation. One thing I am noticing is that the blade is very small for the cage. It doesn't even go to the outer ring here. Yeah, it really is not bad. I would actually use this. I'm so surprised that this thing doesn't totally stink. Hi. That's a big jump in power consumption. Now we're up to 0.32 amps, 32 the amps, 28 the watts, and 0.72 the power factor. And it's moving a satisfactory amount of air for this size of a fan. There's definitely better ones out there, but this is not that bad. It's not even overly loud either. It's pretty average. Well, that's interesting. It's much better than I thought it would be. I can feel air across the room here, but it's very, very minor, which is exactly what I would have expected. Does anybody know what these sold for when they were new? Because this is a super average, if not even a little bit below average fan. But I have a feeling that because of the Lakewood name on there, these weren't super cheap. Yeah, it's not horrible. I am so surprised. The blade is behaving like it's very heavy. This will be an interesting coin in service. Well, there we go. Lakewood 600DX. So I guess now I've got to rearrange some of the fan displays and get all three of them together, because it is pretty cool to have the family of the three different sizes.